What's up, world? Hackers and corporate challenge adopters. It looks like we have 17 people in right now, so I'm going to give it like 30 more seconds, and then I'll get started. Oscar, are you out there? Can you let me know you're out there in the chat? I see Nick, Jack, Joey. Joey's dabbing vigorously. I have a newfound respect for newscasters now after doing live streams. This is indeed my second live stream ever. I think I should just get going then. All right. So welcome everybody to my office. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really tired of doing this home office stuff. I decided today finally that my preference for working in a larger environment is really associated more with being able to move around and separation of work and home. But anyway, I'm still having fun doing the hackathon setup and rollout. And I want to welcome everybody to the second live stream. This live stream is being recorded right now, and everything will be available on YouTube afterwards. So if you miss anything or want to get back to any notes, then you can always look there. We're also going to be doing a Slido today along with the live stream to get some back and forth between you guys, myself, and also the team that's working on the back end, not in that room, somewhere else in Limburg, who's going to be answering questions during the Q&A. So there is a 5 to 10 second lag, I believe. I think last time I calculated it, it was 6 seconds. So please keep that in consideration while I'm talking. We can hear you now, but it requires clicking play again. So I think some people are having trouble actually seeing it. So maybe if you just refresh your YouTube screen and also have a little bit of patience because there's a lag. There, Oscar is staring at me. Awesome. Okay, guys. First things first. If you could all go get your mobile phone out, open up the camera. Remco is here. Awesome. Open up your camera and please scan this QR code up here on your mobile so that we can get some audience interaction. So if everybody could open Slido on their phone, I'm going to give you about 30, 45 seconds to do so. Thank you, Ida. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Talk to you on Friday. Cool. Awesome. So it looks like everybody's on Slido at the moment. So I want to know where everybody is from. Everybody that's out there in YouTube world, where are you guys from? I think we had also a team from Egypt, and I'm curious to see if they're actually in the live stream right now. So let us know where you're from. Brussels, Nijmegen, Nederlands, Kerkrade, Maastricht, Limburg, Pelt. I don't know exactly where that is, but that's a new one. Nice. Cool. Resident. That's a specific town. Aachen, Bilze. Estonia. Estonia is the home country of the Corona Crisis Hackathon movement. So the Estonians are the ones that really started this movement of getting hackathons going across Europe in response to the crisis, which I think is awesome. All right, cool. Looks like we've got a nice crowd represented here. Now I'm going to switch back to my face and get going with the live stream. So welcome everybody. I'd like to also invite you to keep Slido open. Any questions that you have as I'm flapping my gums, keep them either on a piece of paper or type them down, and then we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this session so that we can get everybody's questions answered. So first thing I'd like to do is introduce myself. My name is Chris Sparks. As some of you may know, I know a lot of you guys that are in the live stream right now. But for those of you who don't know me, I am not from the Netherlands. I'm from the US, Delaware to be specific. Delaware is a tiny little state halfway between New York City and Washington, D.C. It's right in the middle. It's also known as a tax haven for a lot of companies in the US, where 66% of all Fortune 500 companies are headquartered there. But yeah, there's a very interesting history if you want to learn about corporate law in the US and what Delaware has to do with that. But anyway, I find myself today during the Corona crisis in the Netherlands, and I feel very fortunate to be here at the moment, and also very fortunate to be around people in this innovative ecosystem in the Regio and in Western Europe. I think that the openness, inclusion, and the way that people have organized society in this part of the world is extremely conducive to finding solutions quickly, which is what we're trying to do actually in this hackathon. My position is at Brightlands. I'm the head of entrepreneurial development, and what that means is that I help smaller companies get their market access and resources that they need to actually build sustainable business and scalability. But enough about me. I'd like to also thank the crew that's behind the hackathon. Thank you guys also for bearing with me and all my oftentimes impatience. So thank you, Unlocking Society crew. I'd like to thank the ecosystem partners, the Core to Campus Hasselt and Startup Connector. Mark Bainders is helping us heavily with the hackathon, and so is Digital Hub Aachen, specifically Jan Muller and Andreas Dreger. So thank you to our ecosystem partners that are also holding this hackathon along with us. The knowledge partners also need some thanks, which are University of Maastricht and BIS, Open Universiteit and Karoo, Hogeschool Zuid, and TNO. Thank you guys for providing knowledge, mentorship, and coaching during this hackathon. But most importantly, the individuals and businesses in the Regio. What we're really trying to do with the hackathon is find the problems, but also opportunities that are arising from the crisis. There's a lot of, with the urgency of the crisis, there's a lot of urgent issues that are coming up, and what we're trying to do is match up the teams that provide the solutions and put them on those issues. So I'm going to go back to Slido. How many of you have actually been part of a hackathon before? This is important because we've actually gotten feedback that some people don't really know what a hackathon is. So there's a 50-50. $60-40. There's a 7% there, and I'm going to reuse the joke that I told last week. If you don't remember what the hackathon was, then it was not a hackathon, it was a bachelor party, and you may have had too much to drink that weekend. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of a hackathon, what a hackathon is nothing more than distilling problems, putting them on a platform, and then getting the crowd to attack those problems and provide solutions. It happens in a lot of different ways. In this case, it's digital. It's a digital hackathon, of course. But there's also physical hackathons. For example, in Groningen, every year there's a blockchain and AI hackathon called Odyssey, in which over 100 teams come together and try to solve multiple problems from multiple different stakeholders of industry using blockchain and AI technology. In this case, we are technologically indifferent. there's no requirements for what type of technology you need to use in this particular hackathon. So what we like to say that we're doing here is we are creating a platform for these problems and opportunities for people to come on board and help those stakeholders actually bring real solutions into the world as urgently as was the onset of the coronavirus. So the coronavirus came really fast, destroyed all of our systems, and we want to respond to that by providing solutions equally as fast. So why are we doing a hackathon? Well, it's the socially responsible thing to do. I don't know if it was mentioned yet, but there's no business model behind this. So this is completely kind of grassroots, or as grassroots as things can be coming from Brightlands and the other campuses. We're not charging anybody anything for this, neither on the participation side nor the challenge holder side. But it's the right thing to do for the tech ecosystem globally. And we want to join the momentum of the rest of the hackathons moving across Europe and throw the hat in the ring for the Uregio. We also want to, for the participants, a lot of feedback from people, just an interpersonal conversation, is that everybody's working, like maybe cleaning their houses until the floors are so clean that they can eat off of them, and then working on themselves. But it's hard to kind of reach out of the window and grab control of something, and we want to hand that ability back by making connections with the right stakeholders for teams to really feel like they have some kind of control over the future, or to build the future that they see fit. And also, we'd like to learn how to do a digital hackathon because it's an interesting tool for quickly sourcing greenfield ideas any time of the year, crisis or not. So who is the hackathon for? The hackathon is for anybody who's affected by the corona crisis. Of course, that means anybody from somebody going to a kindergarten all the way to a grandparent. Both of these demographics and everyone in between are affected by this. Everyone is a stakeholder right now. If, for example, you have a solution in the hackathon that needs to be validated, then you might have to speak to an older person in a retirement home to understand if you can drive engagement with that demographic, or you might have to speak to somebody who's younger and try to figure out how you can get the engagement of that demographic onto your solution. So everybody is a participant, or can be a participant, and there's also, of course, the usual suspects. So programmers, developers, ethicists, legal people, consultants, coaches, et cetera, academics. Everybody is involved, but the important thing is, if you're considering to join the hackathon, look at the challenges and imagine to yourself if you can lend your skills and interests, so your hard skills, but also your passion, to actually finding a solution to the problems that the stakeholders have. In this live stream, I'm going to go over the themes and the challenges, or examples of challenges. I will then go over some housekeeping basics. So why are we using certain platforms, and what are those platforms? And then we'll do a live Q&A at the end. And I'd like to keep it under 45 minutes. Let's see if I can actually do that again. I did it last week. Maybe my timing is on point, but we'll see. So, some water. So, what are the themes anyway? I'm going to go through the themes and the challenges right now, but examples of challenges. This list is updating almost by the hour. So we're having conversations with stakeholders from all over the Uregio to try and understand more concretely what their problems are, so that we can turn them into challenges for the hackathon to work on from the 11th to the 13th of May. The first theme is the new normal. Right now we're in quarantine, and let's hope that we don't have to stay in quarantine longer than we need to. Or maybe we should stay long, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But what is the world going to look like once we come out of this quarantine? There's going to have to be some changes. And in this theme, we're looking at ways, we're exploring different ways to make humanity human again. This 1.5 meter lifestyle is not conducive to how we're actually wired in the brain. We communicate verbally very often as humans, but also, via touch, patting somebody on the shoulder, or hugging a loved one. That is something that we can't do anymore, which is I don't think that that's set in really for society yet, how strange that is, that we can't hug our grandparents at the moment. So this theme is about bringing people back to being human. And an example of a challenge underneath this theme is, what solutions are there for the inner city? How do we keep the 1.5 meter standard or reductions of the 1.5 meter standard enforced? Not enforced, but maintaining an appropriate level of separation or social distancing. We're talking to multiple municipalities about what this solution could look like, or more the details of the challenge, and trying to make it more concrete. But look forward to that challenge being more defined over the next couple days. The second example of a new normal challenge is, how can we more effectively let people back into natural areas like the Hoveland? So next to Landgraaf, next to the Snow World, that entire area is sealed off. So the big hill with all the steps, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's a beautiful large hill. I think it is the mountain of the Netherlands. That's all closed off right now. And the VVV and a couple other tourism industry names are extremely interested on how can we make that open again in a safe and responsible way. Again, minimizing infection spread. A third example of a challenge within the new normal is what non-digital solutions are there to optimizing built environments like offices for minimizing the likelihood of infection. So for example, an employee parks her car in the morning and then she leaves at the end of the day. What sort of built environment changes need to happen to make sure that she's very unlikely to be infected by coronavirus? This is coming from right now 3 different stakeholders. The Student Hotel, they're headquartered in Amsterdam, along with their I believe it's a sub-company, Collab, or TSH Collab, and also Customer Service Valley here in Maastricht. Customer Service Valley runs all of the customer service offices in this region. So these three stakeholders are willing to provide aftercare in the form of meetings to winning teams and trying to get the actual solution implemented into their organizations. The second theme is the new economy. So the crisis has exposed the fragility of the so-called greatest achievement of our species, which is the global economy, some people believe. But of course, it's like throwing a monkey wrench or a spanner into the gears, because it's incredible how fragile these systems are if you just look at the news and see what's happening in different countries. So we're trying to add robustness and anti-fragility to these systems in this particular theme. An example of a challenge in this theme is, how can we restart the democratic processes within companies given the remote nature of the new normal work environment? So if anybody's noticed their companies getting more, I don't want to use the word autocratic, but top down in their decision making. That's not just you, that's a lot of different companies. Normally the specialists or the domain experts on any given project are able to give their perspective from a bottom-up approach, but because of the separation, there seems to be a lot of top-down decision-making happening. And this particular challenge example is very important, I think, especially in the Netherlands, because it's taken a long time, 4 decades or more, for the Dutch system to be as democratic as it is. And the crisis has kind of done away with all the process of listening to everybody's opinion before a final decision is actually reached. This challenge is coming from a healthcare provider called Meander, and they have, this is an example of a challenge coming from an unlikely source, but it's still a problem that everybody has. So we're looking forward to adding more stakeholders to this particular challenge. And again, just to remind, these challenges are continuously evolving on a daily basis, and we're going to be updating them on a daily basis as well. The second challenge in the new economy is, medical supplies are a logistical nightmare at the moment. How can we fix problems so that those who need supplies get the correct equipment and material on time? So I have a very close friend who works for Tesla in California, and having spoken with him about the manufacturing of the respirators that Tesla recently rolled out. They had an amazing, of course, production run, but then had zero oversight on how to actually get these where they need to be when they need to be there, and also understanding what the most heavily affected regions are by the coronavirus, so that they can optimize the distribution of the respirators themselves. So it was inspired by Tesla. I'd like to get them on, of course, as a challenge adopter, so somebody who's going to support the challenges, but we're also talking to other major medical companies in the region to take this challenge and provide aftercare to the teams who are winning this challenge. So the third theme is preserving democracy. There's a void in leadership in many countries, and we're looking in this theme to explore how can we empower citizens to be citizens again with data. The first challenge is, if anybody has an American mother or father or relative, you might relate to this, or at least I do. Sorry, mom or dad, if you're out there, but there's a lot of misinformation in the media in the US today. So the first challenge example has to do with misinformation. Can we build a tool that will increase digital literacy and develop a strategy to maximize engagement and retention? By digital literacy, we are referring to the tendency for some people to automatically believe anything that they're told, whether online or on Fox News or CNN. So bleach comes to mind, sunlight being a cure for coronavirus. These things, while to some of us are very obviously not the cures to this disease, some people don't understand that. And also there's more mundane examples of believing misinformation that I don't need to get into. I think everybody watching this stream understands what I mean by misinformation. So that's a challenge example. A second example of a challenge in the preserving democracy theme is, how can privacy and self-sovereignty be maintained at a time when global health depends on tracking individuals? As Germany announced, I think it was a week and a half ago, they're looking at app-based solutions to tracking people who have been infected. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ethical and privacy concerns that are coming from the deployment of an app of that nature. So how can we maintain the privacy? So all of these challenges, again, are going to be constantly updated. You can find them on Sparkboard. There's a Sparkboard link actually in the YouTube description for this stream. And then there's also a Hack for Smart Services website that we're going to make available to everyone. If in doubt with regards to finding links, you can always go to my LinkedIn profile, and in my description there are links to all of these things. So when in doubt, check my LinkedIn. If you have any other ideas for challenges, if you're an organization out there, I saw Paul in the crowd just now. There is a forum that I will also post on the Sparkboard as well as the Hack for Smart Services website. And you can always, if you're an organization, post a new challenge. But we'd like to get the challenges in by the 4th of May. So moving on, we've chosen some very simplistic, or the simplest way to deploy a digital hackathon. We've chosen some platforms to use here. So the first one is our collaborative platform choice, which is Discord. I think there are some people out there who know who Discord are. They must be gamers, or maybe they are gamers. It's a great place to swear at each other, and there's not a lot of disruptions in the audio or the video on Discord. It's a very stable platform so that your expletives can make their way directly to the ears that need them when they need them. It's also got private rooms, which is where the meetings between the coaches and the teams will happen. It supports a lot of file sharing, and of course there are very sick GIFs. Everybody knows how important that is. But anyway, I will explain a little bit later how the scheduling of the coaching and mentoring sessions will go. The second platform we've chosen is Sparkboard. Sparkboard is where we centralize the ideas and information both for the teams as well as for individuals. You can find the challenges constantly updated on there as well. We encourage you to spend some time thumbing through Sparkboard to see some of the projects and your fellow badasses on there. So that's going to be where we keep a lot of very important information. So if you also are an individual You can search Sparkboard for a team that shares your interests and needs your skills. You could also post an idea for a solution on Sparkboard if you're an individual or a team. Also, if you are a person who wants to get involved but doesn't have a team yet, don't be afraid to approach people. Or if you have two teams that have very similar solutions or ideas, merge the teams. Don't be afraid to do that. If all else fails, reach out to us via Sparkboard, and we will help you find the people that you need to get involved on a team. We need to have the teams formed on Sparkboard by May 7th. And on May 8th, we will be granting access to the teams to their rooms on Discord. So the rooms on Discord will be open for the teams on May 8th. So how do you actually use these rooms? Why are they important? Because from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of May, there will be a opportunity to have coaching and mentoring sessions with the experts that we're gathering as coaches and mentors. On May 8th, you'll be given access to the Discord room where you can follow the instructions there and via Doodle, reserve time with mentors and coaches. Again, the hacking itself occurs May 11th, 12th, and 13th. You can hack whenever you want during this time, of course, but just understand that the coaches need to have a predictable, manageable time that they can expect to be available for the teams. And that's going to be between 4 and 7. So please make sure you schedule those sessions earlier. And then by midnight on the 13th of May, we need to have the recorded pitches submitted to the Google Drive. Your pitches will be scanned with a machine learning algorithm to see it, basically to understand sort of the facial movements of people pitching and how that translates into trustworthiness. So that is something that you can also opt out of. If you don't want it to be part of this research, then you can also let us know. And then the final day is May 15th. From 11 to 4 o'clock, we will be playing all of the pitches on a live stream. A link will be published on Discord the day before so that you can tune in and see the results of all of the teams. This link will also be posted on Sparkboard. Then from 4 o'clock on the 15th, we will be calling the winning teams and having a virtual celebration with virtual beer and some probably electronic music. So what do you guys get after the hackathon? We are working with the challenge adopters and holders on what aftercare looks like on a case-by-case basis. So what you can expect from the stakeholders attached to each challenge is a series of meetings to make your project into reality. Again, everybody is extremely urgently looking for solutions. So it's a good time to start thinking about how to pitch this properly to a corporate organization, because they want to actually talk to you after the hackathon to the winning teams. Also, on top of that, aftercare includes 1 to 3 months at each of the 3 campuses that are ecosystem partners on this hackathon, which are Digital Hub Aachen, the Brightland Smart Services campus, and also Corda Campus Hasselt. So there will be space available at each campus to work for 1 to 3 months. You'll have access to the networks of all 3 campuses to get the resources that you need to make this project into a reality. You'll also, of course, get exposure in the Regio, because we'll plaster your names all over the social media and in newsletters, etc. There's also in-kind resources like brainstorming sessions. So I also do a brainstorming session of 1 hour to 2 hours with startups normally, where we kind of sit down and get all of the ideas that we can on the wall on how to build the business into something scalable and sustainable. And we'll be doing a lot of that afterwards with the winning teams. And then the final one is also, of course, contacts with potential partner organizations to accelerate projects, whether that be a challenge holder or someone else that's in the network that they suddenly realize that they share this problem as well and they want to speak to the winning teams. So essentially what we'll be doing is acceleration of projects after the hackathon. So you may all have some questions, I'd imagine. I'm going to switch now again to Slido after minimizing my face. And the first question is already on the Q&A. So, are there requirements for minimum or maximum team size? There are none, but we recommend between 4 and 6 people. Most of the time, you can't democratically manage a team over a 3-day hackathon with 10 people, and 2 people is probably too few, although you might be able to compensate for certain capacities within the team with the coaching and mentoring. But 4 to 6 people is generally a good number. But we're also not turning away teams of 3 people. It's quite open in that sense. We're not as strict with those regulations as other hackathons. Nayla asks, hi, I want to help teams with the aftercare. My job is to find the corporate partners and funds to do this. Okay, Pom, great. Nayla, I'm going to write your name down, and I'm going to contact you after the live stream. Because essentially what it sounds like you would like to do is similar to what I will be doing, and so will the other ecosystem partners, is helping accelerate the development of these projects after the hackathon. So, dois nomes. Nayla, let's have a chat after this, yeah? Are there eligibility restrictions? Absolutely not. Again, we had a team from Egypt signing up. That's awesome. Wherever you're from, it's all, everybody has very similar issues right now. So if you're from Texas or Kursk, whatever, you can always sign up for this hackathon. If you have friends in other regions as well, we always have, for other hackathons, the live hackathons, we have people coming from all over the world to join. Any tips and tricks to win a hackathon? I think structure is the most important thing, and also, just like any other project, I personally have never won a hackathon before, so I should probably put that down as a disclaimer. But tips and tricks are just structure and simplicity. So don't dream big, but definitely focus exclusively on the challenge and only make the solution as big as it needs to be to address the challenge and also fit within the parameters of the judging. So go crazy, but not too crazy. If that makes any sense. We're going to be posting also the judging criteria on Sparkboard very shortly. What is expected by coaches and mentors? So coaches and mentors have different expertise that they are contributing to the hackathon as an organization. What we would expect is that they are available between 4 and 7 on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of May. And that they basically bring their enthusiasm, energy, and passion into those meetings on those days. So it's basically availability and expertise. It's something intrinsic, meaning your expertise. Maybe it's something that you have to manufacture by drinking a couple of cups of coffee if you have 3 children. But we just want people to be there to answer any specific questions in domains like, yeah, a lot of coaches come from legal, ethics, development. There's city planners often are part of mentorship groups. Essentially, it's availability and enthusiasm. Another question, are there prizes beyond the follow-up implementation guidance and contacts? There are no cash prizes here. Again, there's not a, I don't know if that was a question, but I should clarify that anyway. There's no cash prizes at the moment. However, again, if an idea is good enough and it's needed urgently enough, it's going to get funded. And there are definitely funds out there. For example, Eureka is one COVID-19 fund that's recently popped up. There's money out there for funding these things. We do not have any native financial prizes to this hackathon. But again, let me just go through this one more time. So again, there's meetings with the stakeholders that could be considered a prize. There's also space at the campuses. There's access to network across the 3 campuses. Exposure in Regio. other in-kind resources like network brainstorming sessions, and then contacts with potential partner organizations to accelerate the projects. So those are the aftercare prizes. Are there any more questions? There's more questions now than there was last week, which is always good. How much time do you need after the hackathon for further development if your team's idea is chosen, so you can join if you work or study full-time normally? That's a bit of a lifestyle question, so I don't know. So I guess if you were to run a startup that was going to, that's a very hard question to answer. I can't really answer that for you, but I think that you should have a team that would be able to compensate for any time limitations that you would have as an individual, as a student, for example, to roll this out into the real world. Latest question, main goal for now ideas for chosen theme. Is it possible to clarify that a little bit? What is the main goal? I'm a little bit confused about the question itself. Could you clarify? Are there any other questions in the meantime? Besides hacking, can 3D printed products be a solution as well? Absolutely. So I'm trying to think of an instance where this would be applicable. Yeah, there could be 3D solutions in, for example, the prevention of viral spread. There could be, it's hard to come up with solutions off the top of my head, but certainly, I mean, it's a capacity that teams could need. Certainly, the transfer of CAD files would be important. What would be interesting if you're a 3D person, or if you're in the additive manufacturing industry, is actually for the challenge under the new normal, where they say, where the stakeholders are asking, how do we better move people through a building? Modeling that building and optimizing the furniture and the office spacing and things like that, that would be something that would be interesting for a 3D printing expert. And maybe there are also items that need to be 3D printed within that physical space. Next, will the solution need to be implemented in a physical prototype / software, or it's just a pitch? It's just a pitch. And also, again, to be clear, we want as many of the stakeholders to adopt the solutions as possible. So try to make the pitches as high quality as you can. So as though you're actually pitching to a venture capitalist or a management team at a corporate or so. Are there any other questions? Let me check with my associates. Joey is letting me know that I didn't answer the coaches and mentors question. I think I did. Just again, the expectation from coaches and mentors is that they are available for the time and that they bring their expertise. So I can't predict really what the questions are going to be or what will be expected of the mentors by the teams and participants, because it could be just about any question in the domain of expertise of the mentor / coach. So the availability is really the biggest expectation from the hackathon organization. Let's see. Yes, Joey, I did answer that. Is there a dress code? Yes. Just don't be naked. Basically, your birthday suit is never an appropriate thing to see on a live stream, or sorry, on a platform. So just don't be naked, or if you are naked, don't stand up. That's the biggest piece of advice I have. Are solutions necessarily limited to technical solutions, or could it be, for example, a communication campaign? Great question. I think, yeah, so we are tech agnostic here. It doesn't even have to be like a technological solution. If it's simpler to solve something with printed material, for example, or a really compellingly designed advertisement campaign, for example, for washing your hands, that's also a solution to a lot of different problems. It does not have to be a high-tech solution. So I think because it's the Smart Services Campus and the Digital Hub and the Corda Campus, people start thinking of it as something that has to be AI or blockchain or Python, etc. It doesn't have to be, no. Okay, so the goal for now, ideas for chosen theme. What is main goal? Ideas or solutions? So right now on Sparkboard, we'd like to get everybody's ideas up on Sparkboard right now. And those ideas should be on there so that people can see what everyone else is thinking about working on. But during the hackathon itself, the goal is to build a feasible real-world solution. So the idea is only as important as the implementation of that idea. So the deployment of that in the real world, in 3D space. That's basically what we're looking for during the hackathon, our solutions. Leading up to the hackathon, we want people to also share their ideas. Is there a celebration event when COVID-19 is over? Yes, you can come over to my house and drink all of the leftover wine from my wedding because there's so much of it, really? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think that we should have a party. Why not? I think that we can have maybe like a nerd superhero or Star Wars themed costume party at Brightlands. And if you remind me when COVID-19 is over that I made this promise, I will do it. All right? Damn it, I just told that. I don't know how many people just heard me say that. But anyway, yes, we should have a party indeed after COVID-19 is over. Maybe we could even say that the follow-up event from the hackathon is a party of a date to be determined. So please, somebody remind me when this is all over, or when quarantine is over, that we have some kind of get-together. It'll probably have to be outside. But yeah, that's a great idea. Any other questions? Great questions, by the way, guys. This is actually kind of fun. Again, two things that really should happen for anybody who wants to get involved. There is, in this YouTube description, there is a link to an Eventbrite, and that will sign you up to the actual hackathon. Additionally, there is a link to Sparkboard, which is where you can get all of the important information that you need to immerse yourself in the content of this event. So as a reminder, check Sparkboard and sign up for the hackathon if you have not already. So what does owning a challenge mean in terms of expectations for the challenge owner? So if you are, for example, the student hotel, who is one of the, we're using the word owner right now, but I'd rather use the word adopter. So if you're the student hotel and you've adopted the challenge of how to safely move people through built environments, the expectation is that to the winning teams, or teams that are also interesting for you, Sparkboard is not my startup, no. Sorry. The people who are challenge adopters, they should take meetings with the teams that are winning after the hackathon. That's the expectation that we have. So whether it's winning teams or other ideas and solutions that come out of the hackathon that are interesting for the stakeholders or for the challenge adopters, we really want to encourage them to support those teams that are part of the hackathon in bringing this into reality. So actually building solutions that are grown during the hackathon. Sparkboard, again, is not my startup, and I keep on whenever I type it into my search bar, it's always Sparksboard. So that tells you something about my reading comprehension, I guess. All right, anything else? Any other questions? Okay, guys, it's 45 minutes. This is crazy. I think that I might be for the second time in a row. It's not because I visualized it. I don't know how I got this. So there's a couple of questions, maybe on the YouTube live stream chat. Paul, thank you very much. So Claire is bringing up an issue that she tried to log in and got the following message that an invitation is required, and that she needs to ask the organizers for access. Ida, is there anything that you can say about that? I'm assuming that it's logging into Sparkboard. So yeah, so Claire, you first need to register via Eventbrite, and then you can also register on Sparkboard. So going through Eventbrite actually gives you access to Sparkboard, from my understanding. Is that right, Ida, on WhatsApp? Tell me. All right, cool. So I think that's it. Claire, I hope I answered your question. When all else fails, just Eventbrite, register Eventbrite, and then go to Sparkboard. Cool. I was correct in saying that. Thank you. Sandrine says that my shirt looks like Che Guevara, but this is just, it actually, I have a pin on that says I love you. So I am a peaceful revolutionary. Okay, guys. Thank you everyone so much for coming to this live stream and bearing with my awkward face and stupid jokes. I love making them, so thank you for being the crowd even though I can't see you. Thank you for the meaningful back and forth. And just to close, Eventbrite and Sparkboard. So just sign up through Eventbrite and then go to Sparkboard. And then also, if we can get a virality measure going with this, tell your friends and family or anybody who you think would be interested in joining this momentum that we have. We're getting a lot of really positive feedback from all of these stakeholders, various companies that are coming out of the woodwork again, ones that you wouldn't expect, putting forth challenges that you wouldn't expect, but really engaging and inspiring challenges that they're putting out into the world for all of you to solve. So I need to go now because I'm getting yelled at by my colleagues to end the live stream. Thank you very much. Love and respect to all of you, and see you in the hackathon. Bye-bye.